From the signing of the Constitution through the first 6 presidents, the United States operated under a gentleman's system of administration. The presidents carefully contemplated each of their political appointments. However, Andrew Jackson ushered in a new change by establishing a spoils system. The use of patronage meant that party loyalists received the best jobs within the government. Consequently, administrators typically held their positions only when the party was in office. Besides being slow, this process caused 5 major problems. First, patronage encouraged presidents to create extra jobs to gain more political power. Second, presidents tended to select underqualified employees. Third, people used their official positions for personal gain. Fourth, an excessive amount of time was spent on basic job training. Finally, the president was forced to spend more time giving out jobs and less time on public policy decisions. Another major problem came to the nation's attention when Charles Guiteau became violent after not receiving a political appointment. He turned his rage towards President James A. Garfield. Unfortunately, Guiteau successfully assassinated the president. As a result, Congress passed the Pendleton Act of 1883. This act established a merit system that focused on competitive entrance exams, significantly more job security, and security from parties and candidates who once demanded contributions for jobs. Then, under the Carter administration, the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978 created the Office of Personnel Management and the Merit Systems Protection Board. Next, the Reagan administration attempted to reduce the power of the Office of Personnel Management and return to more patronage appointments. Afterwards, the Clinton administration formulated the National Performance Review, which is also known as the Gore Report. Its goals included destroying the existing hiring manual, allowing individual agencies to recruit and hire applicants, incorporating more flexibility into the job classification system, permitting agencies to develop their own performance and reward systems, and reducing the amount of time needed to fire a troublesome employee. More recently, the Bush administration altered the system by using more patronage and expanding privatization through contracting out employees. Overall, personnel management remains inefficient and ineffective. The complicated hiring process can deter some of the most talented individuals. The equally complex firing process ensures that some of the worst employees are able to keep their jobs. Additionally, too much job security causes some agencies to deliver goods and services at a mediocre level. Furthermore, these practices result in overspending by the government. By 2016, almost 1 million of the 2.9 million federal employees will be eligible to retire. So now is the perfect time to revisit the failures of the past in an attempt to develop a brighter future. We begin by analyzing the government's complex hiring process. While implementing new technology, the government still relies on an outdated system complete with archaic policies. Essentially, this establishes an intricate web, and though the internet helps, many people have trouble trying to locate and apply for positions. Once the select few individuals do apply, they face strict regulations and requirements. Due to the reduction in patronage, the government utilizes merit and performance examinations to test applicants. One issue that arises with this practice involves the unfair advantages given to some people who possess certain attributes, such as prior military service. Thus, even some of the more qualified applicants are overlooked because some people receive extra consideration. Despite more individualized exams, many qualified applicants who are well suited for certain positions may not perform well on tests. In general, merit-based hiring may not result in selecting the best employees. On top of that, people have described the entire process as slow and cumbersome, and not everyone has the time to wait. By the time that new employees begin working, the environment may have changed to the point where they are no longer useful. Nevertheless, these individuals do not have to worry too much because most employers try to avoid the complicated firing process. Instead, managers typically use other techniques, such as transferring employees to other agencies, in order to get rid of the problem. However, these practices merely relocate the problem. Therefore, many employees retain their jobs much longer than they should. Providing too much job security can lead to complacency among employees. Clearly, the government is resistant to change. Meanwhile, private companies have grown from nothing to global companies in less than a generation. While the government waits years to implement new policies, companies have focused on becoming flatter, leaner, and more productive as a result of competition and market forces. The government cannot make such alterations as easily because of the numerous steps required for the firing process. Fortunately, the government has the advantage of holding monopolies over certain industries, so employees do not have to worry about competition from the private sector. A viable alternative to the current system is an increase in privatization. Still, some people oppose privatization because they feel certain agencies should only be run by the government. Plus, other individuals worry that they will not be able to hold private companies accountable, and that the private sector will fail to solve some of the problems facing public agencies. On the other hand, proponents of privatization offer a variety of counterpoints. In some instances, the government is able to maintain ultimate control because of a strategy known as contracting out. Local areas, such as Scottsdale, Arizona, have already experimented with this concept by hiring private companies such as Rural Metro to provide services. While people may not completely realize the reality, they do have the ability to control private corporations by resorting to techniques like buying from competitors or even boycotting a company or industry. Furthermore, privatization will revolutionize the government's hiring process. Individual companies possess more freedom and flexibility than the government, which is weighed down by red tape. Private companies have a history of utilizing both merit-based hiring as well as patronage-based hiring. They try to reap the benefits of both strategies while minimizing the disadvantages. Similarly, the firing process is more efficient because companies have more freedom to make decisions. Employees need not worry, however, because they can seek legal remedies if they are improperly fired. In addition, privatization aims to bring lower costs while maintaining or improving efficiency and effectiveness. With less job tenure in the private sector, employees are motivated to maintain a higher level of quality and productivity. Also, the government tends to create positions and rarely gets rid of them. The private sector is much more dynamic, and jobs can be eliminated when they are no longer useful. Some foreign governments have already taken bolder steps towards privatization. In Britain, the government recently sold off numerous state assets to cut the federal deficit in half. Even so, the government does not have to completely privatize industries in order to reduce costs. If the government dismantles its monopolies over certain industries, an increase in competition will result. Nonprofit and private organizations have already begun tackling diverse issues such as hunger, illiteracy, homelessness, welfare dependency, drug use, and teen pregnancy. Increased competition will lower prices and allow more people to rely on private companies and nonprofit organizations rather than the government. If the government has to provide fewer services, then the legislatures can either use the extra money to pay off the federal debt or lower taxes. Clearly, privatization is a possibility with great potential. Citizens have suffered too long with poor hiring and firing practices, mediocre services, and overspending. Much of this stems from having too many career civil servants. While privatization is not a perfect system, it will surely address many of the problems currently facing the government. Change will lead us into a brighter future.